again to Level Up. I'm your host, Everton, and tonight I am glad to have my wife as my co host with me tonight. Welcome you all to Level Up. And we are so excited. We have a very special guest on tonight, Mr. Michael Forrest. Welcome to Level Up Show.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And get my wife to give a little bio of Michael, who he is. Go ahead, hon.
Thank you for having me tonight. So tonight we have with us Michael Forrest, a founder of the Canadian Black Chambers of Commerce. And Michael is the founder of the Black Chambers of Commerce. He's the entrepreneur and CEO of Sportsplex Management Group, Kingsmart Group, and companies. Michael celebrates amongst 100 most influential Black Canadians in 2023 Afro Global Television and Excellent Award. Michael, welcome to Level Up tonight.
Alfie, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Michael, tell us, what is CBCC?
Everton, thanks for asking that question. The CBCC, called the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And one of the things that all communities have, and all particular cities and countries have,
Yeah.
are a Chamber of Commerce or a Board of Trade.
Okay.
And the main purpose is to make sure, bring its community together to really increase trade. In our case, for example, we are a cultural chamber of commerce,
Okay.
which really means that we bring the entire Black diaspora of Canada together, whether from the African continent,
Yeah.
the Caribbean, or born here in the Americas, in Canada. Our main goal is to connect Black trade across Canada. And we do this by doing four things. And we have an acronym called NATE.
Okay.
Any board of trade or chamber of commerce really do four basic things. And the NATE, the N stands for Navigate and Network. So we do this for our members across Canada. Maybe you look for capital or access to resources across Canada. We can definitely help to make sure find those resources for you. The A, we advocate.
Okay.
Back when the pandemic came upon us back in 2020,
Yeah.
one of the first things we did was advocate, along with other Black organizations across Canada, to help Black business, basically in the sense level up, to use the pun of your name,
of
right?
course, yeah.
And so we
Yeah.
recognized back then in 2020 that Black
Yeah.
entrepreneurs were being left behind. And we lobbied the government, we advocated along with other Black organizations,
Yeah.
and they created what's called the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund Program, which allowed Black companies to apply for these programs across Canada.
Okay.
And of course, so we continue to advocate for our members no matter where they may be. So if you may have an issue in your company, it might be
Yeah.
a taxation issue, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
we can definitely advocate for you on that behalf as well.
You're not kidding.
That's what we do.
Well, you know what? I'm
yeah.
going to give you a call on that because I may know someone that could use the services.
Yes.
But you see, Michael, you just gave so much nuggets and tools that are available to the Black business community, but I don't think many people know about it. So this was formed, you're saying, back in 2020?
Yeah, 2018.
2018.
Yes.
Okay. So what was the idea behind you creating this organization to help Black business? What got you at that point? So you know what, we need something. Was there an experience that you went through for the lack thereof, or what got you to that point?
Great. I think working for large multinationals such as Chevron Texaco, which I
Yes.
did for several years,
Yeah.
and being connected to a lot of American Black cities along the way.
Okay.
And, Black American cities are, a bit more established, larger
Yes.
populations along the way.
Yeah.
And so you start seeing what's working well in those cities,
Yeah.
and really the haves and have-nots in a sense.
Okay.
So I saw Canada as being the land of opportunity.
Yes.
And so by looking at really trying to understand exactly how do we actually increase the Black community come closer together. Everton, one of the beliefs is that the Black community is not as united as we think we are. But I think it really
It's a
is.
myth. Yeah,
It is
I
a
think
myth.
it is a myth.
It
I
is
think
very
so.
much a myth
Yes.
because we see it when we go to our churches or mosques on a regular basis, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And so one of the things I recognize is that we are richer than we realize, right?
I like that.
And the thing that I, of course, being in the Chamber of Commerce,
Yes.
I just want to complete the other the NATE word before. The NATE is network and advocate
Okay.
for the N. V is for advocate, and the T is for trade.
Okay.
So trade is critically important. So
Yes,
whether we're doing local
yes,
trade
yeah.
here in the city of Toronto,
I'm in real estate, and I do trade on a daily basis in
yes,
my business.
yes.
So yes.
So transactions are critically important,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Nothing like seeing that money coming into the bank at times, right?
My wife can tell about that.
Yeah.
She smiles when she sees that.
Definitely.
Yes.
And of course, the E in the word NATE is educate.
Okay.
It's about educating our members about the just the opportunities that are across Canada.
Yeah.
And also, we run programs.
Okay.
We are running a program right now that's sponsored by the Bank of Montreal.
Really?
And it's to help entrepreneurs to find ways to really grow their business to the next level along the way as well, too.
And that program with RBC, is it a certain age group or been in business for a certain time span? How do you get?
Yes. So this one we're running right now with BMO. Hopefully
sorry.
the RBC will be on board soon for
Okay,
sure.
BMO.
So hopefully if they're watching,
Yeah.
we're definitely coming after them for
Yeah,
that money
there you
as
go.
well. right?
Absolutely, yes.
So one of the things that the program, we definitely design programs and it's geared at, and this one program is actually geared at entrepreneurs that are making over $100,000 per year.
Okay.
So the next thing, of course, is to how do they level up to the next level to
Yeah.
get to that $1 million mark.
Yeah.
And so we bring on business advisors and trainers and mentors and coaches, business coaches, to ensure that they can definitely mentor these entrepreneurs along the way. Because everyone needs a mentor, right?
course.
Even the mentor that's a master mentor needs a mentor as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
She knows about that.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing I'll say, Everton, we all, since we're on a very important platform as well too, the master mentor is, of course, God Himself, right?
Amen, brother.
Yeah,
Amen.
so,
Amen.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're a man of faith as well.
Well, try to be humble servant as
I
well.
like that.
right?
Humble servant.
Yeah, try to listen to the voice,
yes.
the calling, and just try to be there
Yes.
as well too.
It's important though, and my wife has some questions for you, but before she gets into that, you said something a while ago, your faith, and not too often we connect faith with business, and we need more models of folks like yourself who are in the business arena and faith-based, because the church, as you said, is a big community.
Yes.
And it's where I've been in church, my wife and I have been going to church for over 20 years, the same church. And it's a family, it's a community. And sometimes folks are there, we have business, they're doctors, lawyers from different professions, and they all come together in one space to have fellowship.
Yes.
So we need someone like yourself who is in the business world and also in the faith world to connect the two together, because I think that there is power in that movement.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're so correctly on that for sure. And one of the things we want to do more at the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce is really build true meaningful bridges with faith-based organizations. Because you've said it best, I think faith-based organizations, they have two things that are critically important. The resources of the space,
Yes.
and the most important thing, the people. And what we bring to that particular partnership is really economic development.
Okay.
How can we create programs that we can actually run in the churches, in the mosque along the way,
Okay.
that can help us to make sure, grow the congregation in
Yeah.
certain ways. And that's where we see ourselves as being a really important ally partnership with the faith-based groups across Canada.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Question, please.
Sure. So I'm more familiar with the business commerce of trades with the local municipalities.
Yes.
But as a founder of, the Black Business Commerce of Trades,
Yes.
what are some of your early challenges you faces when you started this foundation? What are some of the resistance? How did you lobby like different bodies of government to get on board to start supporting small businesses like Black-owned
Black
businesses?
business, not just
Yes.
small business, but
Yeah.
black small businesses.
Yes.
That's the key thing right there.
Yeah, the one thing I'll commend, it was having a really quality team in the beginning. And without having a team and, sharing with your friends and family at first and bringing in on allies to help you grow the business and division along the way. I think once you can find those people in place, it becomes a lot easier to grow forward. Any new business goes through, of course, there's a SWOT analysis everyone does. And
Yes, we know
that
that,
letter called T, threats.
Yeah.
It is real. We know the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities are many, but the threats can definitely, be, challenging to go through.
Yes.
So I think going through those challenges is very, very important. But to your question as to how do we convince people to really come on board,
Yeah.
we tell the Canadian story. We recognize and we tell the story that the Black community in Canada is, I believe, Canada's best kept secret. We are 1.6 million Black Canadians across Canada, and we connect to 2 billion people around the world. So as a country, having this great entity and asset in its back pocket, it is our goal to make sure Canada recognizes that how do we actually mobilize the Black communities to really increase more trade.
Yeah.
And as I see our southern cousins playing
What's-
a different role in some way,
Yep.
and Canada's, our dependence on one trade partner is much too great. You cannot have one client take up 7% of your entire resources.
That's a lot.
So Canada's great opportunity here is to make sure tap into the Black community, tap into the greatest continent in the world, the greatest untapped continent, that's been tapped too many times, and that's Africa.
Yes, we all know
And
that.
so by creating more trade opportunities with with our communities that are here. I mean, everyone is here from the Black world is here. So why not try ways to really grow these opportunities? So Canada, if she does, move correctly and utilize its best resources of the Black Canadian communities, she can definitely have quantum leaps and quantum growth along the way.
I love that. No, I love that. It's funny that you mentioned that because when we were talking about, I remember one of the things we talk about is we had a session, a Black fatherhood event that we had, and the goal of the event, Michael, was to change the narrative in the Black community. You said something a while ago. You gave some great stats that many people are not aware of. And sometimes the narrative in the Black community is a negative narrative.
Yes.
But they're positive, so we're here to speak of the positive because we don't talk about the positive enough.
Yes.
We talk about the negative more than the positive, and there's so much positive stuff that's happening in the Black community.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
You know, Michael, I really want to continue that question. I'm going to reverse the question now because how you get, lobbyists on board. And now I'm going to ask the next question would be because as a young Black business owner myself, some of the challenges that I'm seeing out there is awareness and education and just understanding how to level up your business, how to structure the business. So if you walk away from your business, your business can still be successful.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges of getting some of these Black-owned businesses on board, or if there are any challenges of getting them the resources, the education, allowing themselves to be coached and be mentored by individuals who have gone ahead of them?
Yes.
Like, what are some of the challenges? Are there resistance from Black-owned businesses to come on board as well, or?
Good question.
It's a great question, actually. Black business, small business, they're all hungry to grow. And the one thing that I found about founders of any company, they are always seeking information. We see people going to different webinars, seminars all the time. But the one thing I challenge any entrepreneurs that do not spend too much time in the classroom. Spend time in your business.
Yes.
Wow.
We've seen many companies are trying to perfect their business plan to a perfect perfection. But the reality is that you have to really work in your business, right? And one thing I do see is that a lot of entrepreneurs, they have that fear factor of being a salesperson. And I tell everyone that you are your company's best salesperson. So just understanding your strengths, who you are, right? And just go from that standpoint. But I find that entrepreneurs are really hungry for knowledge. And one of the many great things about Canada is that we have a ton of resources in this country, a ton of them. And as a young person growing up in Canada, I've gone through the loan programs, grant programs, and the one thing that I see over and over again, the programs have not changed. They're just rebranded, different names, where they call it young entrepreneur, women entrepreneur, Black entrepreneur programs. It's still a loan fund program or a grant program.
It's a different.
Yeah, and they're designed to really help the country grow its new person that want to go into the venture of entrepreneurship along the way.
Yeah. Nice.
In the local community, how does the Black business owner who's looking to start a business, where are you in the local community for them to find you? Because how will they get access to your program?
Great.
And go ahead.
So our website is called blackchamber.ca. And when we got that domain name a few years back, we were quite surprised it was available. So blackchamber.ca is really anything you're looking for. We can definitely help you by contacting our company. And if you want to email us, our email address is info@blackchamber.ca. Now, one of the things that we're doing several things, and we have a partnership with Uber Canada, and we have what's called a Black Business Direct, which is critically important. It allows you to find other Black business across Canada. And right now, this month of Black, being February, we're running a promotion with Gonas Media and promoting Black business across Canada. We're excited about it. It's blackbusinessdirect.ca. You can register your business for free, so others can find you. So the main goal is to make sure that we can definitely increase the search the opportunity to find Black business no matter where you are, right, across Canada. And so the Chamber really is a place where you can definitely email us, and we can definitely get more information to you about our programs, our networking sessions as well. And we are a national organization. So we have what's called several chapters and several innovation hubs across Canada, from Halifax, Montreal, Ottawa, here in Toronto, and of course in Edmonton, Calgary, and of course in Vancouver as well.
You guys are nationwide.
Definitely. And that was one of our main goal. You asked the question as to what propelled me to really drive this initiative.
Correct.
I saw an opportunity to create more of a national organization. And that's where the opportunities are, is to see more national organizations connecting us from
Connections.
all across the coast to coast.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Have you seen, from when you guys started in 2018 to 2026, how have you seen the growth in membership?
You know, membership is, in our Black Business Direct, for example, we have over 6,000 entries of companies in that database. And they're given what's called a free membership in the Chamber of Commerce to make sure grow their business across Canada. We've seen a lot of growth since 2018 of a lot of new Black organizations growing and coming up, which is a great thing overall. I mean, post George Floyd, as an example, that was a great catalyst for that as well.
Yeah.
And you know, like any business, some will die, some will thrive. And so we definitely want to encourage those that are out there to make sure that they continue the great work that will inspire Black entrepreneurs across Canada, no matter where they are.
If you were to say some of the reasons why you think small business fail in the first 5 years, what would you say that is, based on your experience?
Yeah, I'd say the first thing is really self-reflection. I think that's the first thing we have to do. One of the programs we teach is really about financial literacy.
Okay, that's important.
I mean, how are you in your own personal life? Are you financially well? And the goal is meet yourself where you're at.
Okay.
And really and truly, and just make a plan, take steps to make sure you can get to that level along the way. But also recognize that the company also has its own credit rating as well too. And so one of the things we want to do is actually encourage people to make sure respect the business plan. That is so critical.
Yes.
You say a business plan will tell you one of two things. It'll tell you basically this business was for me or not for me.
Okay.
So I've written many business plan, and after getting to the end of the business plan, I'm saying, you know what, Everton, this business is not for now, right?
Okay.
And so that can help you minimize the failure along the way. Because in Ontario, in Canada, for example, 3 out of 5 businesses fail in the first 5 years.
Wow, that's a high number.
Very, very high number.
And those reasons, I go back to what you talk about, not following the business plan, not basically revisiting the plan to see, okay, am I on track or am I off track? And financially, as you're saying, in your personal life, if you're off track, then most likely the business will be off track as well.
It can be for sure. And I think the biggest thing more than anything above all those reasons is passion.
Okay.
Do you have what it takes to stay in the game? When you do fail, for example, are you able to start again? You might have to make sure revise your business plan, revise the business, maybe change your industry, your sector, and continue being an entrepreneur.
Pivot, if you have to.
You have to pivot.
If you have to.
I mean, only 1 in 10 person is an entrepreneur. 10% of any society, no matter what culture you look at, 1 in 10 basically.
Wow.
You know, so I mean, I have a biased belief that entrepreneurs run the world,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But more importantly, entrepreneurs have a great responsibility
They do.
to make sure that they can train and make sure provide a great workspace, because without the workforce, you will not have quality success in any company for that matter.
I find some dogs. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, I wanted to ask you a question because I wanted to kind of gear it more to the younger population
Yes.
now. And as a Black-owned corporation, and you're running as the ecosystem in the Black community,
Yes.
where do you see young entrepreneurs, like, you know, the age like 18 to 30, 35, where do you see them coming into services like this? Are they accessing resources like this to elevate their business model, to, you know, brand their business and get it forward into the market of entrepreneurship?
You know, I do see quite a lot of new entrepreneurs. And the one thing, my biggest peeve when someone comes in the company or in the organization and asks, where do I get a grant? That's my biggest peeve question. And to my mind, that person has just failed. Because in business, yes, it's important to have those resources along the way, but you have to have that first investment into your own company directly.
It's like buying a house. You come to the bank and say, I want to buy a house, but I have no down payment.
There you go.
I can't. It's like, you're failed.
There
you want
you
to
go.
stop me and you're not prepared.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So you have to really have your skin in the game along the way.
Yes, exactly.
Very,
Yes.
very important for sure.
Yes.
But the great thing is that there is a scramble. There's what I would say now. There's a big demand for young entrepreneurs across Canada.
Right.
Because typically they have not yet made their first home purchase.
Yes.
They're still undecided on many of the banking needs as well too. And that's why banks love us, because we are able to attract a lot of young people. And they themselves see themselves that if I can attract someone like a young Everton as an example, that person may then bank with me long term along the way.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and from the corporate standpoint as well, they recognize that it's an important, you know, having an account with a bank.
Yes.
And that's why they come to us to make sure that they can partner with us.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Michael, talk to the younger population out there. What's your advice to the youth that's coming up?
Well, the youth that's coming up. One of the things I'd say is that you need to get a mentor. Get a mentor and also become a mentor to the ones coming up behind you. Very, very important as well, too. I mean, every generation has their value and their input along the way. And the one thing I'd say is that from an African perspective, is that we have to honor our elders. That's where we need to go to our grandparents and kneel at their feet and get the wisdom that we need to get as well, too. And I think by doing that, the blessings will flow to you when that happens along the way. And as a young person, think back in my 20s, sometimes you think you know it all, right? But you have to recognize that you want to tap into those that came before you and also apply yourself to make sure you can definitely, be prepared. I think the key thing is from the Black perspective as well, to make sure that you get a formal education as best as you can and make sure satisfy that important requirement in any society along the way. And I think beyond that point, make sure there's put yourself out there and look to career path. I mean, career path of entrepreneurs is a great pathway to look at. A lot of Black entrepreneurs, for example, a lot of Black people, for example, we are marginalized a lot of times. And so the one thing I'll say, Everton, is that we need more Black companies to be created. We have to find ways to really generate them along the way. So to the Black people, Black youths out there, if you have an entrepreneurial idea, call the chamber. Let us help you, develop that idea along the way. Because we need more Black entrepreneurs that can be, really great in this country as well.
What do you say to someone, a young Michael, who's looking to get into business and met so many different obstacles and so many hurdles? And what would you say to that person? What kept you going when you came across hurdles? And you could have quit several times, but you didn't. What kept you going?
It's really the calling that God has placed in my heart that kept me going along the way. And I think beyond that is really my family and close friends that will challenge me. And many times we have ideas. I'm sure we will bounce it off our spouses or family members, and they'll say, that's a nice idea, that's not a good idea. And sometimes it may not be a good idea to them, but you have to listen to that calling in your soul.
You have to know.
And follow that particular calling.
Yeah.
But I'd say to young Michael, understand how society works along the way. And just something I want to share with the young people out there as to what really propelled me to really galvanize this thing called the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. It was a 20-year journey to this point. So in 2005, for example, I created what's called the National African Canadian Association. So there's a yearning always back to the motherland, right? Yes. And so I've said basically, I coined what's called the 6 C's. And the 6 C's are critically important to creating anything at all. And it was about really, so the first C is really about culture. What is culture? What is Black culture? How do you grow it? How do you protect it? How do you preserve it? And of course, next C was really, what is community? Where does the Black community live? How do you create them, for example? I mean, we see other communities doing great works across Canada, creating a good example of the South Asian community in Brampton. I mean, how do we build our Black communities and townships across Canada? And so we have to define those particular opportunities. So by creating your communities, for example, now you can actually put your factories, your graveyards, your churches, your schools.
Based on your culture, with your community.
Exactly. And of course, the next thing that came along was commerce, which became the chamber. How do you connect the Black monies of the Black economies across Canada? And so the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce was born out of that particular C. And of course, civil. Civil is critically important. As young people, are you voting?
Yes.
Are you running for office, right? And are you a citizen of this country as well, too? So make sure your voice is get involved in community, right? Get involved with your church, wherever anywhere you can get involved, give back.
And I think, Michael, this is where I'm seeing the lack of involvement. I'm seeing that the younger generation, maybe not everyone, but I'm seeing the lack of involvement, of movement. There seems to be a stagnant where technology or where we are in society, everything is done so isolated or so remote. How do we energize and revitalize and get the youth to be excited again? Like, what can we do in our community or in our churches? Like, what can we do?
There's so many things. I mean, I can only speak from a cultural standpoint. And the other 2 C's I want to share with you are basically about clan, which is really the family. What is the state of the Black family, right? And of course, the last C is centers. Where are our spaces? Where do we where do we actually network and so forth? But I think how do we make this happen? I think it's really meeting our culture and community where it's at. and really creating things that are age appropriate based on the people we're going after.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we are looking to maybe engage, let's say maybe a group of young teenage boys, and we've done this actually with another group that I've been part of as well too. It's called the Lion Circle and the Rope Program, and we created programs that allowed us to really engage youth to make sure we gave them basketball for half the program, as an example. But when that was over, we had more academic exchange along the way. Retreats, critically important as well too, to make sure that you can get out of the city and just really, be in isolation so you can actually follow along the way.
And just reset.
Yeah. But there's so many different answers as to, it's a very loaded question, but how do we actually, but I think more focus groups and asking the young people, asking the middle-aged and the seniors and the elders, how can we actually better engage with them as well too? Very important to do that.
Michael? Well, everyone, thanks for joining in. And Michael, thanks for being on the show tonight. Honestly, you've given us so much nuggets because one of the things that I'm passionate about is about the youth and our black community. My wife is also passionate about youth. She's been working in the youth with the youth community for over 20 years now, and now you are a certified life coach.
Okay.
Right? And again, it all tied back to youth.
Yeah.
We believe that we know that they're the future,
Yeah.
and we want to mobilize them, empower them, and equip them.
Yes.
And sometimes the information is there, but it's not accessible.
Yeah.
Right? Are you doing any events now or upcoming events now that's happening for engagement? Anything coming up?
Great. So we have a few things that's planned in the chamber. In fact, we have a young chamber as well too, and it's designed to actually attract young people across Canada. But we're mindful, youth gets old as well too. So so we also all of us are once a youth.
Yeah.
And the intent of the young chamber is to really get those between 18 and you mentioned before 35 age. To make sure that we can actually go into schools, universities, and find ways to really collaborate with them as well too. So we are definitely talking to business schools across Canada and see how can we actually engage with the Black Student Associations along the way.
Right.
Critically important to do that. And find ways to really bring them to network and connect with each other along the way. And so I think we have to be more intentional in terms of connecting our youth across Canada. Absolutely. And I think, funny enough, my daughter was saying that to me, that she goes, Daddy, we need to find ways to really create more space for people to meet. And I think when we do that, for example, it allows them to really find the rightful person that may match their level and so forth, and not meet people by chance along the way. So be intentional along the way. So
create the futures.
Yeah.
Opportunities. Everyone, thank you guys for joining Level Up. Good to have you on. And again, if you want to get Michael's contact information, he will give it to you in a minute. Again, but keep joining, keep subscribing, invite a friend, and thanks for coming in tonight and watching Level Up. Michael, how to reach you one more time?
Definitely. info@canadianblackchamber.ca, or my email address is mforrest@canadianblackchamber.ca. Reach out to us and go to our website. Our website is blackchamber.ca. And again, go to blackbusinessdirect.ca to register your business and become a member of the chamber. We look forward to supporting your business and allow you to grow and maybe just becoming the next great Aliko Dangote or Michael Lee Chin of Canada as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Michael, that's amazing. Oh, man, thanks for coming in.
I've learned so much tonight.
I am telling you, I didn't